How we doing out there, Brain Smash Nation? Thanks for joining me. You're locked into another episode of I hate all those big fucking YouTubers. Fuck off. Thanks for joining me again. This is Brainsmasher, and we got 4 album reviews to talk about. And it is nothing but the utmost necrotic, Christ-raping, monochromatic black metal that you can imagine. It's been a while. Sorry about the hiatus or what have you. Just been a lot of stuff going on. Nothing bad. So, how about we talk about some good old fucking black metal in this album. So, while I flap my gums, let's listen to Noctis Aeterna. What do you say, huh? In my opinion, this is kind of loud for one. Maybe France's answer to Xasthur, or kind of maybe like a more melodic or piano or orchestral driven Manes from Norway. Anyway, real simplistic, just stripped down to the bone, raw, ugly black metal. But there's a lot of synth element, and there's this real kind of dense quality to it that I think gives it a real kind of grimness to it. And also it's French. It has a real kind of French character to it. There's the only thing I would say about it is that it's really, really keyboard driven. So if that's not really your thing, you might not like this. Xasthur really, I think, was a lot more like, he used his keyboards to be more kind of like a choral sort of element, like it was fake, but a more choral sort of element, whereas this synth sounds a lot more like piano or orchestral kind of stuff rather than the vocal sort of shit that Xasthur was doing. So that's, let's see, this is called Lil Arms Duty, I guess that's how you would say it. So Noctis Aeterna, check that out. So keeping it in France for our first album today, we're going back to 1998 with Seth's Les Blessures de l'âme. I have been a huge fan of this record since it came out. Back in the time when I feel like you could just throw a dart out in your yard if you had a bunch of CDs in your yard or something and hit a good album. It seemed like you couldn't go wrong. So I would just, you know, look through any catalog and just find anything that sounded remotely interesting. Kind of kick tires on it for a little while and eventually order it. So this was one of those. And being that it came out on Seasons of Mist, this is the 10th release that Seasons of Mist put out. Back in the early days of Seasons of Mist, I felt like they were doing a very great job of having a nice variety of different artists from Scandinavian, European countries and stuff. But you couldn't go wrong. It was always kind of a surprise to see what they would put out. Anyway, Seth wound up kind of being more of one of those like black leather pants kind of bands, but this debut is really fucking awesome. It is distinctly French, and I think carries that tradition of French black metal, but maybe kind of a little bit more professional, a little bit more skilled, a little bit more technical than something, say, like a Seigneur Voland or Somber Kemen or Kristallnacht or whatever. This definitely is deserving of being on a bigger label, I would say. So it's a nice blend of being just grim as shit, sometimes super ferocious, and at times it's kind of got like that frosty kind of element, like Immortal was kind of able to pull off. There's some band photos, but I put this on every now and then, and I've always really enjoyed it. The stuff they put out after was kind of like I said, it's kind of cyber black metal, sort of leather pants kind of shit that I don't really get into, or just was a little too dated maybe when it came out, honestly. But this debut is really fantastic, really fast. It is also pretty synth driven as well. Keeping it in France, let's go with Bakira with L'Alou d'Amal. This is a lot more stripped down and minimalistic, and in a way I think it kind of reminds me sometimes of more Finnish bands of the day. And this is a little bit more modern than Seth, for instance. This came out on Aura Mystique Productions I'm gonna have to guess here, 2008. But these guys were around early on. 2008, that is not right, because I bought this in 2007 in Dublin, Ireland. So maybe 2004. Anyways, you've got the internet right there. Look it up yourself if you're interested. I hope you do, because this is a great release. They did a demo cassette early on, and that got reissued by... I'm not even going to think of the name of it. I'll put it in the video, of course. And links for all these will be down below as well for you to check out. But this stuff is really, really good. A very minimal and tastefully done keyboard element here. But what really stands out to me is the melodicism, like the minimal melodicism in the guitars and the harmonies going on here. The songwriting is really, really good. It's all just kind of mid-paced, just really, really fucking grim, riff-oriented French black metal. L'Arms Duty. I think they broke up after this came out, so this was kind of a nice swan song. Really the only thing they did other than that demo, which was really, really good, but it predates this full length by quite a few number of years, so there was quite a progression from the demo to the Lil Arms full length album. And then keeping it in France again, just kind of feeling the French black metal lately, but this I don't think sounds all that distinctly French. But if you're not familiar with France's Nehema, I strongly recommend getting into this stuff. I'm not exaggerating when I say some of the songs on this album, Requiem Tenebrae, are every bit as strong and great as stuff from Dark Thrones, Under a Funeral Moon, Panzerfaust, Total Death. It kind of runs the gamut somewhere in there of sounding quite a bit like all those albums. And just, man, it's like you listen to a lot of this kind of black metal and you're just kind of like, yeah, ho-hum, it's pretty good, but it doesn't really stand out all that much. But when you really put one on or find an album that is like that, only the songwriting is just that much more watertight and amazing. It just reminds me how fucking great some bands who can pull it off so well are. And man, Nehema fucking does it for me. They've got 3 full lengths. They're all really great, and I should have looked this up. The one album that I don't have actually is, as far as I know, most people say it's their best, and I need to get it. I have, I think, Fist of the North Destroyer. I don't know. Been kind of running all over the place today, so my memory isn't focused on what I'm doing. Anyways, this record, the variety in song styles on this album really makes this a super palatable record. I've listened to this 3 or 4 times in a row on a road trip just last weekend. It is so fucking good. And before that, I was listening to it on and off in my car, left and right. But these guys were so fucking talented and underappreciated for their time. This came out in 2004 on Oaken Shield Productions. I'm not sure. This is some great stuff. You may be able to find this on vinyl. There was a 6 LP retrospective box set put out, I think by Oaken Shield, many years ago, and you'll probably have to pay about $200 if you demand having this on vinyl. But the CD versions of these you can get on Discogs for 10-15 bucks, and you'd be a fool not to. This record fucking absolutely blew me away. You know, it's one of those things that I downloaded, you know, 10 or 12 years ago or whatever, and liked at the time, but it was at a time where I was downloading tons of stuff and all of it was really good, so it just kind of got lost in the mix. So buying it on CD recently just kind of gives it to me a fresher look, and just absolutely blew me away like I didn't expect it to. Kind of along those lines, but leaping over to Germany, talking about Drautran's Throne of the Depths. Yeah, I had downloaded this a long time ago and thought it was pretty good, but just kind of left it in my back pocket. But this album in particular is one of those, I've always felt like someone, like a lot of people who like really know their shit have this in their back pocket as like their best recommendation that you probably don't know about. I've heard a lot of people talk about this record like it's kind of the most unheralded record for its time. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this on the table. Fucking get this. It is so goddamn good. I ordered the new Funeral of Mist from Seasons of Mist recently. and they had this in their bargain bin for like $3. And I had totally forgotten about the album, and I jumped all over it for the price. It's amazing. So I would say if you're a fan of Emperor's Anthems to the Welcome at Dusk, you'd be an absolute fool not to love this fucking record. It seriously has that just mighty galloping fucking pace to it, led by the drummer. Honestly, the drumming is just fucking thunderous and just gargantuan, like Trim's playing is on that record. But there's a lot less orchestral or element on Droutran, I think. But man, just the vocals, the riffs, everything about this record is just strong, like Emperor's Anthems album really is. Obviously, it's not exactly the classic that Anthems to the Welcome at Dusk is, but man, if you wanted like a leftovers kind of album from Emperor, Droutran's got you covered. I don't know if they ever did anything else before or after this album, but Lupus Lounge put it out. And I would put a sample from this album in this video just to force you to listen to it if I could, but I've had a lot of problems in my videos by putting samples related to Prophecy Productions. They have some kind of legal sort of agreement with YouTube where anything containing an image or audio from one of their releases is strictly banned from YouTube, so I'm not even going to attempt it. But please do check out all of these releases, especially this one, Droutran. Mike Seatown, if you're watching and you don't know Droutran, dude, seriously. So yeah, Lupus Lounge put this out in 2004, and it is a fucking thunderous, mighty riff master, if I've ever heard one. So we burned through about 4 or 5 albums, and that's it. Hope to be maybe shooting another video here today or tomorrow or so, back on the old video wagon. So thanks for joining me, and see you next time.